You're listening to the Smart Women in Business podcast, episode number 47. Hello, you're listening to the Smart Women in Business podcast. My name is Jane Mackay, and on this show, we talk to smart women in business all over the world about starting, building, and creating the life and business of your dreams while having incredibly honest, in-depth, and rich conversations with amazing women in business who will inspire you to become a smart woman in business. Hello, and welcome to the Smart Women in Business vlog and podcast. I'm your host, Jane Mackay from Jane Mackay Communications, marketing consultant and coach who works with people across the world to build the business of their dreams. Today, I'm talking to Marlene Schmidt. Marlene is an expert money management coach and certified spending planner who wants to live in a world where financial stress and overwhelm is the exception rather than the rule. Marlene specialises in helping female service-based entrepreneurs to manage their personal and business finances, align their spending with their values and priorities, and grow profitable and sustainable businesses that support their chosen lifestyle so that they can experience clarity, security, confidence, and freedom from financial stress. Marlene supports her clients reduce the time they spend thinking about money, enabling them to focus on growing their business and living their best life. Marlene works online with clients worldwide, offering a range of services from single sessions on specific areas to her VIP spending planner coaching program. Marlene is passionate about empowering women to become financially independent because she believes that wealthy women can change the world for the better. And that is so right after the story that's come out about the Canva founders this week. Yes. Marlene, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
So tell me about your business journey so far, Marlene, and how you got to where you are today.
Okay, well, I had a long career in corporate and government positions, working on things like business systems improvement, coaching, developing and delivering training programs to hundreds of staff. And I ended up finally as a HR manager. And I loved my work, I really did. And I had no desire to go into business for myself. But there were a number of things that really frustrated me about working for big organisations. And that was that I felt that I wasn't recognised for my value in the organisation. I was tired of actually trading my time for money. And the goalposts were forever shifting as well. And I was also forced at times to act in or out of alignment with my personal values, because it's a fine line in HR between working for the benefit of the organisation and balancing that with looking after the employee. So come 2015, my position as a HR manager in the local government here was made redundant. And around the same time, both of my parents fell terminally ill.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so it was a bit tough. So initially I focused on my family, my parents, and then they both passed within 6 months of each other. So then I did a lot of soul searching and thought, what do I do now? I was 58, but I wasn't ready to retire. I thought I've got more to give where I can add value. So I had a look at my skills and what I could do. And then I had a bit of an epiphany because probably almost 20 years prior to that, I was in not a good place financially, or we weren't, the family. I managed the family finances. My husband sort of trusts me with it, leave it up to me, just complain when things go wrong. And my husband at that time was working in a business that was seasonal in nature. So we had, very high income in the summer, virtually none in the winter. We had a lot of credit card debt. We had 2 teenage kids. We never seemed to be able to take a family holiday. And I was really struggling with traditional budgeting methods to manage the family finances. And when that happens, we tend to think it's our fault. But I've come to realise that it's not an individual's fault, it's that the system doesn't work. Traditional budgeting, in my view, doesn't work. So I thought there's got to be a better way. So I went searching for a solution, and I discovered spending plans and some very powerful software that basically does all the calculation for you. And it was life-changing for us. Within a few years, we'd eliminated our credit card debt. We had plans in place for our retirement. We were paying all our bills on time. We built our savings. And subsequent to that, we paid out our home mortgage. And I don't think it's a coincidence that, I was probably in my mid-30s at that time. And I think that's a critical time of life. It's when all the pressures come on us, If we haven't got a home already, we likely want to have one. We have the pressures of all the costs associated with children and their sport and their education. They
are expensive critters, those kids.
Yeah, they are. So, I had felt that it was always one step forward, two steps back. And when I discovered this new way of managing my money, it just changed everything. And so I had a bit of an epiphany. I thought, well, I can do this. I can teach other people. So at the same time, I think the stars aligned, or whatever they say, the founder of the Spending Planners Institute and the creator of this software program reached out to me as a long-term user of the software and said, would I be interested in training as a spending planner and getting my certification? And I said, yes, this is it. This is what I want to do. And so the rest of it is history, really. I then started my business and haven't really looked back. It's really the most fulfilling work I've ever done. And I often think to myself, I wish I'd done it sooner. But then, you don't bring the same level of experience to it. If I'd started it earlier, I wouldn't have, the same depth of experience that I have now, because I can honestly say that I've been where most of my clients are, and there is a way forward, and it's never too late. So, and I think there's a huge gap in the market for services such as mine, because at one end of the spectrum we have financial counsellors, and so people who are in really serious financial distress, they go to a counsellor. At the other end, we have financial planners, and they look after investments, wealth creation, insurance, estate planning. But there wasn't a great deal of help available for the vast majority of people that fall in the middle of that. They're not facing bankruptcy, and they haven't got thousands of dollars to invest. They just need to get on top of their finances day to day and, have a plan in place and be moving forward. And that's the work I do, looking after those sorts of people. Yeah.
Just everyday Australians that just want to take control of their money.
Yeah.
And I think
exactly.
So my next question is always, how has your business evolved over the last few years, and what were the signs for you that it was time to change? And I'd be interested in whether things like the barefoot investors come around and everyone's suddenly having date nights and actually brought finances to the forefront of our thinking, that it is something we can control. So how have you changed your business in the last few years, and what were the signs for you to change? Because our businesses are constantly evolving.
They are. Initially, I started out working locally, and Hervey Bay is not a huge population. There's only, now there's probably around 100,000 in the...
Ooh, that is big compared to where I live. That's more than double the population of my entire LGA.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
But coupled with that, the demographic here is either people who are on social security benefits and, just getting by, or wealthy retirees who have, moved here from places like Victoria and New South Wales for the climate. And so I was struggling to find clients. So I decided I was going online. And
online, they said it'll be great, they said.
Yeah, and what a learning curve that turned out to be, because I wasn't active on Facebook, Instagram, forget it. And so I did a whole lot of learning, got a business mentor and got to the point where I actually had a business online, which was really great. But I think, as we all do, in the beginning I started out, I can help everybody.
Yes.
And I can. But
do you want to?
When I was trying to speak to everyone, I was actually, I think, speaking to no one. It was too generic.
Yeah.
So finally, after much time, I think it was only probably in the last 18 months, I've really niched down. And that's where I now service women entrepreneurs. And even in saying that, it's not all women entrepreneurs. You have to be, I guess, ready to do the work. Otherwise, any knowledge is not going to stick. So it's people who are passionate about what they do, but they also recognise that they're at the stage of business where they actually do need to get a handle on their finances if they're going to scale up.
Because we always think of systems in terms of scaling, but we don't often consider the financial systems. We always go, I've got to have a funnel, I've got to have this, I've got to have that. It's like, well, actually, can you do that? Can you keep the cash flow? Because cash flow is so important in business.
Oh, well, that's my big thing. Because, you can have a profitable business, a business that shows a profit over the full year and still run out of money.
Yeah.
At a particular point in time, because expenses go up and down and income, oh boy, it goes up and down too. And if you have a month where, a low income month that just happens to coincide with a high expense month, you can be in real trouble. And so that's where the work I do, it's really essentially a cash flow management system, as well as a financial plan, I guess you'd say. And your finances aren't given, I don't think, the priority that they should be for women in business or anyone in business really. And sadly, a lot of people sacrifice their personal financial security because they're so passionate about their business. And so they're pumping money into the business, sometimes in the early stages, and putting their own financial security at risk in the process. So, yeah, I'm about educating people that, it is really important and it's not boring and it can be fun. It's actually fun.
It's funny because all the people I talk about on the podcast this month have been like, finances is a really fun thing. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I guess the doing part of it needs to be easy, because a lot of people come in with the attitude, that this is going to be boring. And so, I'm glad that the system I use makes it easy, the processing side of it. But the information it gives you is what makes it fun, because when you have control over where all your money's going and you know exactly where you stand every single day, it actually helps you make better decisions in your business.
Absolutely.
So you know when you can spend and when you can't. You know when you need to bring in more clients. You know when you're ready to outsource, and you can predict how that's going to affect your cash flow. So it's really empowering. And so, yeah, I think it's fun.
Well, as long as you do, Marlene, that's the main thing.
I'm not a numbers person. This is the other myth that we have to bust. My husband finds it really amusing because he doesn't totally understand what I do, obviously, but he thinks, oh, you're not good with maths and you're a money coach, ha, 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 you know, but you don't need to be. No. That's why we have software.
More about strategy and data analysis, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's about consciousness too around our spending and our commitments, and also about, I guess, being really clear about what we want, what our goals are, you know, and breaking those down into logical, you know, small steps that we can take to get there. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. So how do you manage your life as an entrepreneur? So what do you do in your everyday, like?
Yeah. Well, I'm one of these people, I'm an introvert, so, you know, I can sit at the computer all day long and, you know, my husband can come and say, come on, that's enough. So I've had to be really firm with boundaries around my work. So I limit myself to 5 to 6 hours a day, and then I down tools and I do something that I enjoy, or, you know, go out for a walk, whatever it is. And I've blocked out my calendar as well, so I don't have clients in the afternoons, although I will meet with clients out of hours if, you know, that's all they can manage. And I do plan my days in that I pick, because everyone has an endless to-do list.
Yes, it will never be done.
No. So I just pick the 3 most important tasks that will move my business forward, and I concentrate on those. And if I get those done, I've had a good day. And I have a bit of a morning routine that I try to do every day. So I do some gratitude journaling. Of course, I choose my 3 main tasks, meditation or a hypnosis, and some exercise. So, yeah, that's pretty much how I manage my day.
That's a great way to set up a day. That's how I do my journaling and my meditation. My exercise is in the afternoon, but it sets you up for calm, aligned intention. Like, that's my sort of goals. Yeah.
It's amazing what a difference it makes.
Mentally.
To your mindset especially.
Yeah. 100%. I agree. And if you're not meditating, people, you need to get on it. So
yes.
What tools do you use in your business to help your productivity?
Yeah. Obviously, the spending planner software is number 1, obviously. What else do I use? I use Acuity for my client bookings. I use Canva. I love Canva. I could get carried away on Canva, so I have to be careful. I use MailChimp for my email list, and Zoom, obviously. Yeah, because at the moment, I've got 1 local client at the moment, but the majority of my clients, you know, we meet over Zoom, and it's fabulous.
It's amazing.
Yeah. What else? And I guess in terms of tools, you know, the mindset work is really important. So, you know, I do a bit of EFT tapping on occasion. The hypnotherapy tracks that I listen to, and the meditation. I've been thinking about getting something like Asana or Trello But I haven't taken the leap yet. I haven't decided which is better.
Yeah, it's like Asana, Trello, Airtable or ClickUp.
Yeah, ClickUp was the other one, yeah.
I look at them and I go, will that just become another thing to do in my day?
I know.
I can procrastinate on. So I'm in the same sort of
same.
Yeah.
Because I sort of, I've got my client management system that I've set up myself and it's working, and I think, I don't know, it might be just overkill to go.
Am I just going to complicate my life even more?
Yeah. And I guess that's something that I sort of say to people starting out in business, don't go and spend a whole lot of money on all these things that you don't actually need.
Yeah. I've followed gurus that go, from the beginning you need like Entreport and all these really big systems. It's like, no, they're very expensive.
That's right.
Go to MailChimp, it's free. Use Gmail, get your own domain, but use Gmail. Like, use all the free things.
Yeah, and you actually don't even need a website. I didn't have a website at the very beginning.
No, as long as you've got the booking tool, you're fine.
Yeah, and you've got Facebook and Instagram. Your
and you can set up a website now in Canva.
Yeah.
And host on Canva. It's amazing. Anyway,
it is.
Putting myself out of a job. So one of the things that I always talk about and that affects every entrepreneur I know except one, what are your methods to overcome like bad days, imposter syndrome? Because we all have bad days in business, even though we don't see them on Instagram.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess I don't know that I suffer from imposter syndrome, but I suffer with promoting myself. I grew up in a family where it was, self-praise is no recommendation, my mother always used to say. So I've struggled with visibility and with, I guess, claiming my power and the power of the transformation that I can facilitate. So when I'm having a bad day, I generally remind myself of who I'm doing it for, and get a picture in my mind of my ideal client who's struggling, and, that usually does the trick for me. And also going and reading client testimonials.
I have a folder.
Yeah, me too. And I am good. Yeah.
Look at me go. Yeah.
And just, I guess, listening to my own, I guess, natural cycles and of when I'm productively, and listening to my body. So, if I need rest, I take it. It's part of, I guess it's one of the advantages we have working for ourselves, that we can design our business around our own biorhythms and life cycle. And in terms of frustrations and things like that, I usually walk away, go and get outside in the sunshine or go for a walk on the beach, and, you come back with a totally different attitude.
Absolutely. I love it. And I'm the same. I'm like, one advantage of working for myself is that I can nap whenever I want. And ever since I gave myself permission to do that, I haven't had a nap.
Oh, no.
I just power on through, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'll meditate instead of napping now, though.
Yeah.
If in doubt, like if cranky, meditate. If tired, meditate, So how do you maintain your sense of community while working alone and in isolation?
Yeah, I guess I probably don't struggle the same as a lot of other people because I'm an introvert.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, totally cool.
I can stay in my head and be alone all day and it doesn't worry me. But as you know, this business journey can be a lonely exercise. So I'm a member of a couple of business masterminds.
Yeah, me too.
And that's really invaluable because, you're with other women who get it. They're on the same journey. and it's great for bouncing ideas, supporting each other and, celebrating the wins and all that sort of thing. So I really value that. And, of course, Facebook and Instagram.
It's how we found each other.
Yeah. I'm in a number of great Facebook groups, where there's a lot of interaction and support with other women, and that's really helpful as well. Yeah.
And I love how online we think it's put us apart when in fact it's drawn us together, and it's, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without it.
I wouldn't have a business.
No, me either, which is wild to think about. All this untapped brain power and intelligence and empathy and all this beautiful energy that goes around the world through Zoom conversations. I love it. So what's your why? What keeps you motivated? Obviously your clients, you said earlier.
Yes. And also, I guess the fact that I design my life, I design my business, and the flexibility that offers me to be with my family. I've got 2 grandchildren, and that's really important to me. So, when I get a bit frustrated, I think, no, I could never go back to working for an employer again.
I am unemployable at this point.
Yeah. I think I might be too. And, and the fact, that I'm really making a difference and I want to make a difference. And, I guess the reward is far greater than, what I would have received as an employee or what I did receive. Yeah.
And that's the emotional, financial, from my perspective, I make assumptions about you too, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are your tips for all the smart women in business out there?
Oh, my goodness, I've got so many. I've got points here.
Oh, she's taking notes. Look out.
What are the most important things? I think, first of all, so many people, they go through life and they've never actually sat down and thought about what they want.
Yes.
What they value, what's important to them, what they want, and then how that translates into goals. And because most of our goals require money, how that translates into financial goals. So I think it's really important to get clear about what they want personally, but also how they want their business to look. Like, do they want a multi-million-dollar empire, or do they just want a little business that, supports them and, where they only work, a few hours a day, whatever it is, design your business to suit the lifestyle that you want. That's one thing. And the other thing is to understand that our personal and our business finances are inextricably linked. We go into business because we have a passion to help people, but we also want to make money. And oftentimes for single mums, it's, they need to support their family.
Yeah.
So understanding that, you then realise that if you're not good with managing your money personally, you're just going to compound the problem by starting a business.
Yeah.
It's so I guess that's why I take a holistic approach with money management. So that's why we deal with the personal finances and then the business finances. Because once you've got a handle on your personal finances, you actually know how much your business needs to pay you. Whereas a lot of people sort of say, oh, I just want to replace my income that I had as an employee. But if they weren't managing that money responsibly, they may actually find that they don't need as much money as they think from their business, once they've got a handle on their finances. So, and I'd say realise that they're interconnected, but separate them. So, have your personal and business finances. Open a business bank account at the very outset and keep all the business expenses and income from that account.
It makes life a lot easier.
It certainly does. Save time and stress, especially around tax time.
Yeah.
And really, if you haven't got it separate, you can't really gauge whether or not your business is viable even, And what else have I got? Oh, yes. Please don't get dazzled by 6- and 7-figure business claims because
bloody gurus.
I get on a rant with this because for a start, that is top-line revenue. So from that has to come expenses to run the business, tax, GST,
super,
all those things. Yes. And people don't realise that. And it's really important to realise that you don't bring home that 6 or 7 figures, and that for someone, say for someone earning $80,000 a year with an employer, to pay themselves $80,000 a year from their business, the business has to be bringing in probably close to $160,000. You can bank on it about half. So, yeah, and the other thing is these 6 or 7-figure business owners don't tell you how much of that they're actually keeping. So they might be in, huge debt. They might have expenses that are, taking up almost all of that revenue. So it's a bit like being fooled by people who have, the flash car and the great big home on the waterfront.
On the Instagram, then they've hired.
And we're all envious of those people, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so many entrepreneurs are so focused on chasing clients and money in an attempt to solve their problems because we all think, more money is going to help. But in fact, it doesn't. It just compounds any bad habits that are there. So you really have to look at changing your behaviour around money and looking after the money that you do have. And you've already mentioned this, but people need to understand that cash flow is the lifeblood of business, not profit. Profit's really important, but cash flow can make or break you.
It really can.
Yep. What else did I have here? Oh, the law of attraction and manifesting. I'm in a number of Facebook groups, as I said, and there are a number of people who, in discussions about manifesting, they're saying, I need to manifest money for the car rego, or, I need to manifest money for the school fees or whatever it is. But manifesting won't work unless you've got a handle on your money and you're looking after your money.
Exactly right.
Because you'll constantly sabotage yourself. And I think we need an awareness around our money stories that we've inherited and those beliefs. We need to work on those. And we can manifest, obviously, but you need to have a money management system as well.
Yes.
So it's all those spiritual and magical things that we can do, but you've got to have the practical as well to support it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, busting those money myths that, you need to be good with numbers. As I said, I'm not. You need to have some special talents, to be wealthy. It's just not true. And even people who are good with numbers can struggle financially, personally. I mean, I've had clients on really good incomes, accountants, finance brokers, who struggled, before working with me, lawyers, you name it. Money issues are universal, and it doesn't matter what standard of education you've had, none of that is relevant. Anyone can learn how to successfully manage their money. Yeah.
Oh, love it. So much wisdom, Marlene.
Oh,
so much.
Thank you.
So how can listeners find out more about you and your work, Marlene?
Yeah, they can visit my website, which is insightspendingplanners.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I do have a number of free resources for people. So I think I've given you, the link to my
all the links will be in the show
tree.
notes.
So on there they'll find a masterclass, which is a recorded video on how to have more money without increasing your income. And there's a couple of money quizzes. One is a self-assessment, so they can see where they might need to do some work to get their finances under control. And the other one's a money personality quiz, which will help them identify, money blocks that they have or behaviours that might be holding them back. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Marlene. That was fantastic.
Oh, you're very welcome, and thanks again for having me. It's been great.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Women in Business podcast. If you'd like access to the show notes, please visit my website, janemackaycommunications.com.au/blog. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to hear more, please don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep on being a smart woman in business.